Hello YouTube. My next few videos are going to be about shop organization. I've gotten to the point where I can't take it anymore. It takes me about 3 times as long to do any kind of a project because I spend half my time either looking for tools or plugging equipment in, rolling it out, rolling it away. I kind of want to have it set up where I just walk out to the tool and use it without having to hook up dust collection or, it's just, I spend half my day walking around with extension cords and that just doesn't work. So I kind of was inspired by Jay Bates. He built that big miter saw station. I think that's where I'm going to start because my problem is I have no storage space. So his miter station really solves that problem. Mine's going to be a little bit different. I've kind of modified it, so I'm going to show you my version of it. See, my miter saw is sitting here on this really janky little thing I built like in about 10 minutes, and it's got a little extension wing there to sit your boards on, but it's no good. It's crappy, and making repeated cuts, I really don't want that whole block that I can use as a stop block, just like he did. But if you look around my shop, I mean, I can't even use half my stuff because I can't get to it. My toolbox is covered in stuff, so with my new added storage I should be able to solve that problem. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Well, excuse my dirty notes here, but for the past couple weeks I've just been kind of organizing ideas on things that I want to organize, things that I want to have drawers for, and then I kind of started sketching up my cabinets. I want to make 2 4-foot cabinets, one for each side of the miter saw. And I don't use SketchUp because it takes me like 2 weeks to make a box, sorry. I just do it the old-fashioned way. And then this is going to have a divider in the middle and 2 sets of drawers on each side. And this is my sheet of plywood, how I'm going to divide up the plywood, how I'm going to cut it up. And then this is my other cabinet, which is very similar, but I want one long drawer in the bottom because I want to use that to put my cutoffs and scraps in there. So I'm going to start by marking out this stuff on the plywood and cutting it up. Okay, I got all my side panels here cut. Looking at my little goofy plan here, that's all of these right here. And now I'm going to go back to the table saw and cut out these strips that hold the panel together. Now before we cut all these pieces to their final length and set up our stop block to do that, we're going to go ahead and square the first edge with the miter saw. We want these cross pieces to be perfectly square. This is what gives us a squareness to our cabinet. If these are off, your whole thing is going to be off. Alright, I got all my pieces ripped to width and cut to length. Now it's time to put all the pocket holes, which is my least favorite part of this whole process. I don't have one of the real fancy pocket hole jigs. I don't use it that much. So I want to take a moment to share with you a mistake that I made. I thought I'd save a couple bucks. When I bought the plywood for this project, I was at Home Depot and they had the birch plywood for 50 bucks a sheet. And they had this other stuff called sandy. Well, I don't even know what that means, but it was 40 bucks a sheet. I figured $10 a sheet, 4 sheets, 40 bucks savings. Turns out that stuff is garbage. I really regret buying it. It's all splintery and it's like, there's a bunch of voids now that I have to fill and yeah, you gotta like really be careful running your fingers across it. I'm trying to sand all those splinter things out, and I felt like I was saving money, but in the end I'm not. I would give 40 bucks right now to have the better plywood. I did buy the a nicer sheet of birch for the top, so I'm gonna go ahead and paint the bottom white, and then I'm gonna probably just put some oil on the top or something and have a white bottom and a wood top. Hopefully that looks all right, but don't buy the sandy plywood. Looks pretty good, but I don't like the exposed plywood edges, and I have a bunch of this leftover cherry strips from another job, and I think I'm gonna just use them to edge band around the whole plywood edge to make it look a little nicer. Do that. So for our next step, we need to see what the depth is that we have to set our miter saw at. And for that, I'll just use a combination square. Okay, so here I've temporarily clamped a rail that my shelf is going to sit on for the miter saw to go onto, and this simulates the shelf that's going to sit on there. And here's my measurement from the miter saw, so that looks like it should work out. And we'll just drill it and screw it. Well, if you're like me, your garage floor is probably not very level, so I need to make the little leveling legs like Jay Bates did. He used those little inserts, those little steel inserts that you hammer into the wood. My Lowe's and my Home Depot didn't have them, and I don't have time to order them online, so I'm making my own. Instead of 3/8 though, I want to go with 1/2 inch. So basically, I just got some 5/8 washers, some 1/2 inch nuts, and I'm just gonna weld them on here and make my own little inserts for threading these carriage bolts. So I'm gonna get over to the welder and start welding. Now before I weld the nuts to these washers, I'm gonna go ahead and drill 2 small holes so that I can use a brad nailer to attach them to the wood. These don't have to really be strong, it just has to hold them so they don't fall out. Well, that's it for this video. I just wanted to get the basic carcass built and the saw sitting on it. I'm pretty happy now I can actually use the saw to continue building the rest of this miter saw station. On my next video, I am going to start building the drawers and the drawer fronts that I bought a bunch of metal slides off eBay for. And I'm going to assemble those drawers using some finger joints that I built a jig from William Ing's YouTube channel. He has a real simple method on how to do it, which has worked out really well for me. I'll be using that, and then on a third video, I'm going to go ahead and build an upper storage area to put at the back of the cabinet and some dust collection for the saw. And I'm going to put some outlets around this station because the people that built our house did not think that we needed electrical outlets in the garage. So I want to have enough outlets that all my tools are plugged in all the time without having to go back and forth. So I hope you'll join me on my next video. If you found this useful or gives you some ideas, I hope you'll hit subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a great day.